I want to welcome you to our Question to Ponder. We've been doing this for a number of weeks here from North Haven Church, and got a lot of feedback from many people from our congregation, other parts of the country, Canada, Africa, India. So I hope that you actually ponder the question after I share it, think about it, and see if it in some way applies to your life. There's a question today that years ago challenged my life. Back in the 70s when I was a missionary in Alaska, I read this and I preached on it in the congregation there in Bethel, Alaska. And here it is. It's found in Micah chapter 6 and verse 8. Micah chapter 6 and verse 8, one of the so-called minor prophets. But he asks a major question. He has shown thee, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of thee? There's the question. What does the Lord require of thee? But that you do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with thy God. What does the Lord require of you? But that you do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. Now, it's interesting when he initially says, he has shown you, O man, what is good. Well, how do we know what is good? Jesus answered that question. When that rich young ruler came to him and said to him, good master, Jesus stopped him. He said, why do you call me good? There's nobody good except God. Do you believe that? I do. The only one who is pure and true and good in this universe is God himself. How good is God? He's so good that he sent his son Jesus to pay your debt for your sin and my debt for my sin. Oh, I'm thankful that God has shown us what is good. And then he says, and here's what you need to ponder, so what does the Lord require of you? God has a requirement for you, a requirement for me, requirement for his creation, for humanity, and it has three components. Here it is. To do justly. Whatever you do, act justly. Act justly in your interaction with other people. If you don't, things begin to kind of get out of hand. There's a challenge we know happening in our own country right now. And the issue is about justice. There are those who feel they haven't been treated justly or with justice. In the United States, our population is 330 million people, approximately 330 million people. 13% of that 330 million are black. They're part of the black community, which that means simply 87% are not black. It would be disrespectful and untrue for me to say, as part of the 87%, that I know what it feels like to be a black man in America. I don't know experientially, but talking to black pastors and professors and friends and athletes, their experience sometimes a little different than mine, particularly when they've dealt with issues of justice. They feel like they haven't been treated exactly the same as the other 87%. We're trying to work that out, and we've made already in just a few weeks some steps, I think, in the right direction to get things in the line where there's justice for all. God requires of us that we do justly. And then he says, love mercy. Whatever you love, love mercy. One of my favorite verses is found in the book of Lamentations. It means a lot to me. And Jeremiah says, it's because of the mercy of the Lord that we're not consumed. Great is thy faithfulness. God is a merciful God. If you and I got what we deserved, God would consume us in a moment. He would judge us in a moment. We don't get immediately, right now, what we deserve. It's because of the Lord's mercy that we're not consumed. God has shown his mercy to me. I'm so grateful. And to you. And he wants us to show mercy to each other. Be a merciful person. Don't be judgmental, hateful, critical, cynical, negative. Don't be that woman. Don't be that man. Show mercy to other people. Do justly, love mercy, and lastly, walk humbly with thy God. Isn't there something about arrogance that's very off-putting? An arrogant preacher, an arrogant politician, an arrogant actor or actress, an arrogant athlete. Arrogance can be so distressing when you're in the presence of an arrogant person. You want to be someplace else. And the Bible says, rather walk humbly with your God. Dr. Derek Prince, the late Bible teacher and leader during the charismatic renewal of the late 60s and 70s, and a well-respected author, once said this, I've never forgot it. He said that humility is knowing where your gifts have come from. Humility is knowing where your gifts have come from. Our gifts, our talents, our abilities have come from God. Walk humbly with thy God. Let me close with this. There's a young man at North Haven Church, a young teenager who's a part of this church. I've known him for the last decade or more. His name is Michael. And Michael, a little over a month ago, was named an All-American track and field athlete in the United States. He's just a sophomore. But about a month ago, he was named All-American. And none of you who even come to this church know anything about it, because Michael is a very humble fellow. He's an outstanding athlete, comes from an athletic family. His mother was a great athlete, his father a great athlete, his older brother a state-renowned athlete in track and field and baseball. His sister was athletic. And here's Michael last year as a freshman in high school in the first indoor track meet over in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He ran the fastest time in the United States of America of all high school athletes in his first attempt at running indoor track, more than the seniors and the juniors. But you never heard that from Michael. And then this year, after his sophomore year, during his sophomore year, he was a high school All-American in track and field, and nobody knows about it because Michael's a humble fellow. When he comes to church, he humbly greets people. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. Sits there, listens, pays attention, occasionally comes to the altar for prayer. Then he goes about his business. I have a sense God has a great plan for that young man's life, not just because he's academically gifted and athletically gifted, but he walks humbly with his God. He has shown us, oh man, what is good. What does the Lord require of me and of you listening today? Here it is. Here's the requirements. How do you measure up? That you do justly, treat people with justice, that you love mercy. Thank God for his mercy to you and when he extends it to others. And then please walk humbly with your God. God bless you as you ponder this question.